All right, welcome and thank you everyone for joining us for another Twitter Space, the Internet of Value Foundation, episode 76. And for all of those who join in the future, I hope every one of you find this information as valuable as I know I do every single day. The diverse amount of mindsets and perspectives that we have in this space that join and share their information. And so thank you ahead of time to everyone who comes. Welcome, Shellfish and Cheesecake. I may be quiet for one moment. I'm going to try and send some more invites out, see if we can get some more people in here. Feel free, though, if either of you guys would like to speak.
How you doing, Shellfish?
I'm good. I'm just unloading groceries real quick and I'll be right up.
I'm glad you're in here today, Cheesecake.
Yeah, thanks. I've been meaning to spend more time in here, and it seems like I just lose track of time and I forget. But I apologize about that.
Do not apologize. It's all recorded anyway, just in case, for the information that we talk about and share in here. And I put some topics above that I think is going to be a fun discussion today. Primarily, I think I'm going to try and talk about more than anything the automated market maker and just some risk factors that are associated with an automated market maker and the liquidity measures and some of the factors that play into it that I don't know if many of people in the community know or and to realize.
Right on. Do you have any? Well, I guess you probably do. Hey, I have a question for you. This is off topic. Are you an actual member of the mastermind, or are you just on the Discord?
I think you have to be a member to be on the Discord, right?
No, I believe you can. You can join the Discord just to like get your toes wet and see if there's value in what's going on before you join the mastermind.
Oh, that's cool. Well, no, yeah, I did join. So a while ago, I think I had signed up for it to check it out. And I'm watching in there those conversations that you guys sometimes have. I shouldn't say you, but really Jake has and other people up on stage for the Fridays. I think it is usually that I try and get in there.
Yeah, I don't actually get up and speak too much in there anymore, or even on Jake's spaces on the weekend. It's like I don't know. There's I don't feel like I have a whole lot to add. Like I have a lot more to learn from those people than to contribute at this point.
Hello.
Welcome back, GM.
How you doing, Death Ranger? Shelly, Cheesecake. Cool.
I'm just getting situated. I'll be there in a second.
Don't worry.
I was trying to rapidly chew as fast as I possibly could there, but I hope you're doing well today, Beth. You know, Cheesecake, and I completely agree. I like to say that's why we have 2 ears and 1 mouth, right? So we can listen more than we speak.
Oh, that's a good one. I remember that.
GM, Vet?
Yes, especially if somebody's bothering you. Well, welcome up, Gene. What was that, man?
I said GM.
GM.
You got right there.
The one and only Gene.
Can you hear him? Can you hear him speaking, Beth?
Oh no, he's rugging.
He's working hard. Sorry. Gene, Twitter has not been kind to you the last couple of days.
Yeah, I can't hear him either.
Yeah, I wonder if I'm going to kick you down and bring you back up. Maybe that'll do it.
Well, I'm looking forward to the AMM discussion today because as many spaces as I've been in with it, you guys talking about it, I still don't grasp it 100%. So I'll take as many lessons as I can possibly have my brain absorb.
Okay, sorry about that. I got rugged. All right, we're back. You guys hear me? Twitter, jeez. Yes, Shellfish. And if there's any questions that you have off the top of your head, please feel free to ask them now, or you can save them for a little bit later on. I'm going to go and get some stuff from the xrpledger.org about the XRPL and post some stuff above first. But if you guys want to start talking about stuff, please feel free to. And welcome up, Wolf. Good to see you.
Thanks, Dad. Good to see you guys
Nice to
as
see you.
well. Are you guys going to talk about the real things today? That's nice.
Yeah, gonna focus on the AMM. And it was something that was mentioned in a space we were in the other day. Mr. I had held the space, and Vet was really the narrator and the director of the space. And the topic was AMM, and they definitely, while they were going over it, right, speaking about the liquidity measures and impermanent loss and all of these different factors that kind of go into an automated market maker, the realization was met that we need a lot more of these conversations, especially if we're going to have the automated market maker that's going to come to the XRP ledger, because there's going to be a ton of people who rush in and burn themselves incredibly bad. And it's just an incredibly bad look. So if we can help educate people on at least the knowledge of what an AMM actually is and what goes into it, I think we can get at least a lot more people prepared in the community if we are going to have an AMM.
Okay, how about this? So is it more targeted towards people that are in the financial industry, or is it more for something that like a normal person like, say, myself should be even dabbling in?
Well, I would say it could be for both. There's no reason that a normal person with their liquidity couldn't go into it with the means of a thought of being able to come out profitable. However, the horizon and the means of time going to be spent inside of said pools and liquidity that you are willing to lock up. Some normal people have $100. Some normal people have $3 million, right? So there's a large variation in variables that go into that, and depends on your time horizon of how long you can really lock this liquidity up, and do you expect that this liquidity will be utilized, and in this utilization of the liquidity that you're providing, you will be paid out in fees, and these fees should mask, this is where the profit comes into, right, from the time you spent inside of the pool, what value you may have lost, and over compensating for what value actually originally went into it. And so, all of these variables play into it. However, whether you're knowledgeable or not, whether you have value or not, the knowledge behind what you're doing really is what the key factor is inside of this. Feel free to jump in, Cheesecake. I gotta take.
All right. Well, I have a comment and a question. I'll start with the comment. I think, you have to understand the game that you're playing when you're getting into the AMM, but more importantly, you need to understand the game, what the big boys, the institutional market makers, and the bots that they have set up, and their agendas, and what they're trying to accomplish, and what they're looking for to get in and out of, with their bots on trading, because they're using, because they sit around and they wait on the sideline with lots of funds and bots ready to go, and when the conditions are right, they'll push the market around. You want to make sure that you're not in front of them. You want to get in behind them. I think that's important. But other than that, I was curious on. I want to understand more about the impermanent loss scenarios if we can get around to that
Yeah,
after you answer.
no, 100%. And this is the largest and easiest way to burn yourself in a liquidity pool. And actually, the silly thing is to your comment, it's actually the exact opposite in an AMM. You want to get in before there is volatility. So when you think about impermanent loss, what is occurring is when you go into a liquidity pool, you're given liquidity pool tokens. Then you take those liquidity pool tokens and you lock them up into a pool. Now you have spent or paid fees to do all of these processes. So you are down slightly. Now, when you lock the liquidity tokens or liquidity pool tokens into the pools, if there is volatility in the sense of the price going up or down, the amount of tokens that you have, depending on the pool that you have, if you have, like, say, XRP USD, right? USD is going to stay $1, will change the variable amount of how much tokens you have inside of the pool now. So because your value will remain the same 1-to-1 for what you had locked into the pair, the volatility that occurs, if you decide, say there's volatility, right, and the price goes and shoots up and you pull your tokens out, well, the impermanent loss is no longer impermanent, it's permanent. And so that's why we call it impermanent loss, because it's not a loss that you've taken, but it's a loss that you could possibly take in the situation you are in. There's also a plus side to the volatility, though. If you're locked in a liquidity pool and you have the correct time horizon for yourself where you say, I'm not going to need this liquidity, but I want to supply it to others who may need it, and I will get fees in association with that because I'm not going to need this. I might as well have it doing something. This is where the metric of wanting to join a liquidity pool comes into it, because those who will use that liquidity will pay fees to use that liquidity. And if you are a provider of that, depending on your share of the pool, you will get those fees associated with your share of the pool. If you plan to be locked up long enough, the volatility is exactly what you want, right? You want the price going up or down. You want people trading. You want people using that liquidity. When it's time for you to pull out your said liquidity, you actually want the price to be the exact same of what you put into it, saying that you want the same token amount. If the price goes up for XRP while you have your liquidity pool tokens locked up and you pull out, you will walk out with a much lower supply of the actual tokens that you walked in there with, right? If the price goes up, the variable amount of value that you've put into the pool stays the same. So when you pull out your same amount of value, the amount of tokens will equalize into whatever that value was. There's also another metric, though, that plays into this that Vet I brought up in that space, and correct me if I'm wrong. But if the price of an asset actually goes down and you pull out of a liquidity pool, say you're bullish on an asset, well, this could also be an instance of where you could accumulate more of that asset from a long-term perspective, if that's your horizon on the asset. What I brought up, though, in the space is this actually can lead to this destability in the pool because of the liquidity that's being pulled out of it, token-wise. If it falls hard enough, a price of an asset, people might not be able to pull their tokens out. They might not be able to pull their liquidity out. This is a catastrophic event that could happen in an automated market maker. Highly doubt it would be possible even on the XRP ledger, just because of how liquid XRP is on the XRP ledger, and there just being a sufficient amount of it. But it's always possible. But I would say these are some of the metrics that, when we talk about impermanent loss, this is what is able to occur. And so, number one thing is when you go into that liquidity pool, you're already in a loss. And so if you go into it and you pull out, you feel impermanent loss right away.
So it would, I would imagine that, because of the liquidity and the market makers are going to be deployed in there to help stabilize it. I would imagine that, like the likes of XRP would probably once utility kicks in and all that's running, it would probably remain fairly steady, as far as more comparable what the stock market or what your bonds usually are, not what crypto usually is, because there's a huge difference in that. But I don't like. I haven't read a lot into it, but isn't the amount that you're going to be getting paid is going to be fairly low as far as a percentage ROI goes on your asset compared to other places where you can get a lot more. So
yes, but
I don't know
with
what.
that comes some stability, I would say. Right, it's a variable, probably like something like 2 to 5% is what I've heard talked about.
So yeah, so really, it might be good to not jump in right away if you're going to be jumping in with stuff you can't lose, because I mean, you to at least observe and see how everything is working. I don't know. I don't know what your thoughts are on that, but I'm going to go back out.
Yeah, definitely from a operation standpoint. I mean, it's always good. If you go on the test net with a dev net and right, you can fool around with the automated market maker. Actually, is it still on there, Vet? I'm not sure if it's still on the dev net. I know there was a dev net for it. All right, it's still on the dev net. So you can test it out if you really want to, right? You can go get the faucet XRP and kind of try and mess around with it. And you have really intelligent people like FOMO who are like trying to interact with it and trying to do all these different types of actions on the XRP ledger, which is super cool. And this is how we find bugs or issues that could be possibly put into it. Because yes, with any application or change in code, you always want first thing first is we need to know it operates correctly and there's not going to be some sort of issue. And to your second point, this is for sure when I think of an automated market maker or providing liquidity in the means of market making, you need to know in your time horizon for yourself that I'm not going to want this liquidity. I'm not going to need this liquidity, right? Now, it might come to play that you put your liquidity in, you get paid some nice fees, and the price is not volatile, it stays the same, and you say, I need my liquidity, I pull it out, and you pull out whatever you had in there and plus your fees. It's possible, right? But this is, on the unlikelihood that there's no volatility in the price, which we know the markets, right? I mean, every day there's some volatility. Some days there's not as much. That is a risk, and so going into it, I like that perspective. Of course, nothing is financial advice that's spoken in here, but don't put something into a pool where you fear you could lose your value, and you're not sure you're able to keep that liquidity there based on your own, whatever's going on in your life. Yeah, they were good points, Cheesecake. I should say intelligent points. Sorry, good. What is good? Though, Vet, what do you think? Have any comments on anything I've said? You may not be able to speak right now. That's possible. Shellfish, what about you? What about yourself for Cheesecake? You guys have any more questions so far on anything?
I don't know. I guess what's the lowest amount that you can start with, so you can play with it and kind of get a feel for it?
The lowest amount? I don't know. Some drops. Do you want?
Well, I mean, is like 100
You're just
XRP, is that like the lowest amount to start with, like in a liquidity pool, or do you have to like go in at like 1,000?
no.
Like
What makes you think that there would be a minimum amount?
I don't know. I was just asking a question because you were saying, "Do I have any questions?" And that was a question I kind of was like
you can think of it like this. By whatever amount of value you put into the pool, you own a percentage of the pool, depending on the other variable amounts of other agents or individuals who participate in the pool and their value that they bring to the pool. If there's a pool filled with a million XRP, and you bring 0.02 XRP, your percentage of the pool of whatever amount of fees that you would be able to earn from said participating in the pool would be that variable percentage, right? And so no minimum amount. But right, this is also a large question, right? If you put $100, say you're doing $100 in XRP, and you do a two-sided liquidity pool, $100 in USD. The expectations of, if you think this is a large amount to you, right, but you think you're going to make a large amount of the fees, you really have to check what percentage of the pool that you make up in this pool, because it could be a very low percentage, and so expectations should be set on exactly what you should really expect to be able to get from it. And that's where that variable 2 to 5% comes into play, right? If you can expect 2 to 5% on whatever you put in, or right, as a variable, kind of just like as a base to think about, if you put in $20, what's 5% of $20 on an annual basis?
Well, the reason I'm asking is because most people that have come into the community have been holding for a long time, and they have pipe dreams about making it big, and if they put their money in there and then it just gets like all lost, like it would be smart to start with something small and kind of play with it, learn the system, and then once you learn it and get comfortable with it, then add more.
Yeah, sorry, I couldn't speak the last 5 minutes or so. Now I'm back.
Don't worry about it, Victor. 5 minutes.
Yeah. Just getting myself ready for another walk. So, I think it's actually really good that you mentioned with what you can start. You can start with very small, as that Ranger said, and I would probably also recommend then really do small steps. There's no urgency, I guess people often in crypto have like this this mentality, FOMO. You have FOMO, fear of missing out. In this case, there's really no FOMO. It's actually good if you wait, and I really wanted to dig with the other folks who are actually building something for the AMM. I'm not. So about there is apparently on other chains there can be, or there are predators who hunt for liquidity pools. So they hunt them in order to destabilize them and make them fall apart and basically not work anymore, so that they can get the liquidity out of it. And but it's only possible apparently if the right metrics are given, like and the metrics. I was interested in the metrics, what to look out for. But each space we made didn't really get so far, because we had always to go through all the other stuff before. But a few things that was really good, I guess, to keep in mind is if you gonna look, they're gonna be these pools, okay? They're gonna be websites where you log in and you can select the pools you can contribute to, okay? So there are always two sides, user and provider. I'm gonna be 100% a user, okay? What means like using it to swap assets, okay? So if I need an IOU, I'm not gonna go to the DEX anymore, like the traditional one, limit order, and just look at the order book like Sologenic. Okay, everybody knows Sologenic. I'll probably go to these AMM websites front end and swap assets, because they usually have better fees. So it's cheaper, simpler, and sometimes also the conversion is better. Okay, the conversion is way better, so I get more for my XRP that I give. or vice versa. And so as a user, 100% use it, to swap assets, no worries. There's no risk really in that, because you see really what you get. So if you're not happy with the conversion, you just don't swap, okay? Go somewhere else, like limit order book, but it's on XRP, it's actually all the same. Anyway, but the provider side, you have really to be careful when you give liquidity, like you want to be part of the pool. And a few things that I got told you should look out for if you decide to contribute to a pool are the tokens on both sides listed on centralized exchanges? And that was interesting. Why is it? Because yesterday we had the conversation was around arbitrage. Not yesterday. Was it yesterday? No, the day before. And it was around arbitrage heavily, because I think there was an important concept for all of us, again, to understand. It's basically people looking for differences in price on different markets, and they try to profit. Okay, like, a simple arbitrage would be, hey, I buy iPhones in the United States and then I go sell them in Europe, because in the United States it's cheaper, in Europe they buy it for higher, I make a profit. Just simple like that. And they do this with all crypto or all assets. This is how they profit. But this is how you get a realistic price approach of these assets. So the AMM itself, right, unlike with Flare and all of this, Death Ninja knows, they don't have a price oracle. They don't know what the real price of this is. Okay, so if I have Shellfish token or even XRP and USD, okay, the ledger doesn't know what XRP is worth, or USD, it doesn't know. But the people trading will tell it by buying and selling, and it will approach the price that is right now the market price. But these people who buy and sell, those are the arbitragers, and they need, of course, as I said, they need to make a profit to participate. They are not forced to participate, like you can create a pool. They're not forced to give you the service. It's a service, actually. They want a profit. And if it's not listed on a centralized exchange or somewhere else, then where should they go to, to buy and sell, So if Shellfish token is only on the DEX, on XRPL, what is the job of the arbitrager? Like where can he buy Shellfish token from the AMM and sell it on a centralized exchange, and vice versa? Buy from the centralized exchange and sell it to the market maker. Can't. So that's bad. Okay? Means an arbitrager would probably not go into Shellfish token. This is bad, because then again we're not getting a realistic price for Shellfish token XRP relationship. Therefore, this pool, Shellfish token XRP, is getting destabilized by people pulling out their liquidity, because they see nobody is really trading for it. Because me as a user, I know what Shellfish token is worth, okay, but the AMM doesn't. So I'm not gonna use the pool. And if the pool is not being used, like all of these factors come together, the pool is getting destabilized, and people put in their liquidity. It's hard, for them, because you ultimately, yeah. Go ahead, Shellfish.
Bet I have okay. It may be a really, really dumb finance question, but so everybody is speculating that CBDCs will be built out on like the ledger. I'm cooking, baby. It'll be done in like 20 minutes. Sorry.
We want food too, Shellfish.
I know. So would that play into it if we had CBDCs that were built on the XRP ledger? Like, would that affect the AMM at all?
They can utilize it.
No.
I mean, they can utilize it. They can do the same stuff that we do as well. And there are more factors. And I spoke about the centralized exchange one. There's another factor we spoke about in the German space. It was in the German space. was about that the issuer in the example of shellfish token has to be at least trustworthy, okay? Because he can manipulate it. Why? Because shellfish, probably owns a lot of shellfish tokens. Okay, and when shellfish owns a lot of shellfish token, well, she can interact with the AMM much like anyone else, and she could, drive the balance in out of ratio and maybe to her advantage, which is cool for shellfish.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, which is cool for shellfish,
It's
but anyone else not.
And it's something I actually, after you left the space yesterday with Crep, I brought it up to him about the this also this risk of people getting into pools without realizing that they're purchasing a token that is literally just a fake IOU token somebody's masked, so you purchase it and take your XRP from you. But Rusty, welcome to the space, and thank you for raising your hand. Please feel free to speak.
Hey, everybody. Thank you for having me. Thanks for hosting and thanks for throwing me a mic. I have a kind of an off the wall question. Okay, so the debt that people have accrued today, right now, in their country's fiat currency, for example, the US dollar debt that I have for the mortgage on my house, when we go digital and when they shift everything to the CBDCs, the Fed coin, or the digital pound, or wherever you are in the world, that central bank digital currency that they're going to be pushing, they're not going to be able to collect on those old debts that were in the fiat currency, correct? By forcing us to pay them back in a different currency because that wasn't the original agreement, correct? And the debt is all illegal because it's basically usury, right? Or is that like totally way off and just a goofy out there kind of mindset?
Well, I do think that debt could be collateralized and used as a tokenized. Sorry, I was getting a phone call there. But I do think that debt could be tokenized in the future and collateralized on a distributed ledger system. I don't think, though, from the difference in paying the debt, I don't think it's going to be much different at all because we as retail participants and even for most financial institutions will probably never touch a central bank digital currency. We'll probably use a central bank digital currency wrapped version like a fiat dollar today. And it really, I know we think they call it central bank digital currency, but I mean, our banks are already just digital numbers. It's just they're just very broken walled gardens. It really is just like a different maneuverability of ability to transfer the value, and then this also allows for things like the sovereign dollar of a nation to enable to have cross-border trade while still retain the power of their nation's dollar and not have to worry about a Nostro Vostro account, as long as there is a unified ledger, as the BIS has put it, and sitting in between these nations that could communicate with each other, or a distributed ledger system, some sort of application. Yeah, I don't think we're getting away from the debt instead of in the sense of not being able to pay debts because the factor of tokenizing it is a really nice aspect of a way that it could be sticking around and be collateralized. And I think we'll probably build more debt in the future. As I like to say, another word for debt is really just future expected value to exist.
Yeah, I get what you're saying, but I guess my brain is still kind of thinking in a bunch of different directions at the same time because I have a touch of the ADHD, so I'm sorry. So again, I totally believe that the debt will be tokenized on the XRPL. But going back, again, all of the agreements for car notes, mortgages, etc., were to be paid back in USD sums on such and such date every month or every whatever. So again, I'm just wondering, like Africa, all of their debt has been discharged and they're basically starting over. And that's, when one currency completely collapses and another one emerges, I'm wondering, are we supposed to wipe the slate clean? And then also, I'm with you. I don't know if we're ever even really going to need to touch a CBDC because why would Death Ranger want Rusty to send him CBDCs if I can send you XLM or XRP for something that I'm buying from you, and I don't have to talk to a bank or even deal with the bank, and neither do you, because we're doing a peer-to-peer transfer anyway. So what is the point and what is the need for the CBDC anyway?
Yeah, and I mean, and also today, right? Like, if you wanted to send me US dollars, right, you could do it like Venmo, PayPal, right? Like, I think all of these kind of units of ability to transfer value will definitely exist. It's just from a financial standpoint, they're beginning to change the terminology because they're trying to force all the financial institutions to get on board with all of the different types of payment systems that are being updated around the world. And Africa is a very interesting one because, yeah, they're in a position where people are buying their debt, and so that's how they're getting relieved of their debt. But these are also things like from China and Russia, and it's not a position that at least I would ever think that I would want to be in, because the typical agreements are, you give us your land, we'll build on it, but we own the land, and it's a large part of what's happening in Africa, unfortunately.
Thank you. I appreciate the breakdown.
I enjoyed the questions. It's cool. We had a little break into the economic means of finance and the global economy too, and it still partitions to an automated market maker, right? Because these are one of these efforts, right? An automated market maker in a global setting could be something where parties who have liquidity that are being provided in an open source distributed ledger system could then have usage of that liquidity and all of the applications that could be then associated with that. And so, thinking about cross-border trade and having a distributed ledger system built in the middle, an automated market maker makes it so I don't even have to communicate with you, and you don't have to communicate with me. We can literally just source our liquidity from the ledger, and that's, I think, something that's quite interesting.
Hey, Death, did you see the Fox News story where the lady, I forgot her name, she interviewed Brad Garlinghouse, and he was explaining cross-border remittances and how basically the U.S. is sandbagging when we should be leading, and it almost just seemed like this is all just bread and circus. I swear, it just seems like this is a simulation. But did you see Garlinghouse getting interviewed on, I guess, Fox and Friends or whatever?
These are older interviews, right? Because I don't think, of course, now you probably wouldn't go on Fox because of everything that's happened with Charles Jasperino. But you mean talking like 2022? Yeah, I did. I definitely watched a lot of the clips that he had been on. He's still going on CNN here and there.
I know it's weird. I firmly believe that we are the news now because I don't trust corporate media. I just don't trust like for-profit media anymore. If it's brought to you by Pfizer, then I'm not watching it. Like I don't need someone's idea of what a fact is. I just want the fact, and we can't get that on any alphabet soup station anymore. I don't think we ever really could, but I thought that it was almost like chumming the bucket and trying to like bring more adoption in the minds of the everyday normie people who are inside the bell curve. I hope that everyone comes in quicker and in droves, because I mean, as we always say, the switch could get flipped tomorrow. We could all just wake up tomorrow and the whole thing is just completely operational and online and changed. Like, people keep sharing little screenshots of their banks, like Capital One and da 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 da, all saying, "Oh, we're having some maintenance for instant payments. You can't use us on August 18th through the 19th," or whatever. And it's just like, wow, it seems like the news was coming in once a couple of weeks, and now it seems like every day something very pressing and monumental is like being put in our face. And I swear, every time I see ODL and DLT and cross-border remittances, I'm like, oh, that would be Ripple. Oh, that would be XRP. And yes, Amazon chose Ripple. And yes, American Express chose Ripple. And yes, every central bank on the planet chose Ripple. They ain't choosing Bitcoin, and they're not choosing Tether, and they're not choosing Dogecoin, it just seems so obvious. I just want to shake people.
Well, that was definitely a lot of information there, and I think that we'll never have the drove of movement of individuals as maybe we want it to be, and as much as I would love to see everybody get on board. I think Twitter individuals are a very specific niche, and especially those who have to do with finance and distributed ledger technology and technology itself on Twitter is just very very niche communities, and I think it probably remains to be that way. Just from a historical perspective, typically only a very small portion, 15% or so, of the population is actually the hands that create the societal means of the population. But I don't want to get off too much, Rusty. Although I do enjoy the topics. Go back to the automated market maker, and then we'll touch on Evernote and hooks a little bit, which is something that we haven't even spoke about at all today. Um, Something that I think is really cool, though, that when we speak about Evernote and the hook sidechain, and it's like, what can you do with an Evernote that is significant to some sort of changes that we could see from an application perspective of easier usage of the ledgers. And so, Woe himself, I wonder if I can get Woe actually. Is Woe Jake awake right now? Let me send him an invite. Woe is working on a wallet naming service. So, just like you have your Ethereum naming service or your ENS, and things like PayString and other service providers, Global ID, that kind of try and do the same thing. On Evernote, we're going to be able to have a decentralized means of application that could be hosted that could provide that same wallet naming service. And so, say you want to send Rusty, you want to send Shellfish some tokens instead of RYX79977, whatever the 20 something character wallet address is. It's just at Shellfish, and boom, you could send her XRP or XLM. Well, yeah, I mean, in reality, the Evernote contract could be built to try and multiple wallets. I think multiple blockchains, or Web 2, even emails could be associated. I think it's super cool to think about having that as a sidechain. What are your thoughts, Bet, or Rusty, or Shellfish, or Mr. Cheesecake? Anybody up here? Or Wolf? You haven't spoken at all, I don't think, Wolf.
Oh, I just stunned by all the good information I have been having so far, especially with what Rusty was saying. So
I'm sorry, I get derailed and I get excited and I go all over the place. My bad. But thank you for being gracious and entertaining me. So thank you.
Of course. No, I mean every question is a question for a reason. I think everything happens for a reason. So. But Vet, what are your thoughts on the naming service? Are you excited to
It's
have?
cool. Yeah, it's cool.
Have you spoken to Woe about it at all?
No, I know that there was we had a discussion that was like a lot of months ago when it was with around these two services that came to the XRPO, XRP domains or something, XNS or so, and yeah, this kind of brought back the discussion around how to get name services properly integrated with the ledger, how what are best practices, and yeah, you need sort of you need smart contracts to make it really decentralized. And when you think of smart contracts, well, the main chain is definitely not the place for it. Therefore, Evernote, hooks, EVM, whatever. Yeah, so no surprise he's working on it, or would do it because that makes most sense. So all these services on the main chain, they are not decentralized because there are some smart contract. Therefore, just FYI to anybody in here to be careful. With this.
And even from an institutional standpoint, right? If I'm institution A and I'm going to transfer, value to institution B cross borders, it's much easier in the sense of if I was going to have an application system built, and a party like Ripple or some sort of fintech were to build it for me, to have the means of be able to at institution B makes the process of being able to where you're going to transfer the value, I could see so much easier on an application. And although that probably could be built out without needing like an Evernote smart contract to have it, I think the decentralized means of having it there for small institutions, SMEs, and businesses all around the world could provide that same service that a large institution that pays millions of dollars for a fintech to do it for them could get. Have you heard any new developments on hooks, Vet?
Yeah, it's getting ready. Really, I think everybody's really getting ready. I think really the past couple, let's say 1 or 2 weeks, is just a bit frustrating to me because I see that there's in the community a huge divide between like what Ripple is proposing or doing, and then the rest. So it's basically people trying to. So whatever they bring out is like being against it, and I don't like it because I like to see the merit of you bring to the table. So if I see the automated market maker, I just look at it what it is. I don't think, for example, oh, it's from Ripple, and oh, they could dump, or this is just another tool they use to dump or something. I'm just looking at it as it is. As long there's no function, of course, inside this amendment that would say otherwise, that it would be tilted towards their benefit, which is not. So yeah, that's been I would say in the past 1-2 weeks. Yeah, a weird thing. So which is pretty one-sided, and I never like this. But conversations get really stuck, I would say, because yeah, you're not allowed in some circles of the deaf community to speak about other stuff, really. It's like, oh no, we don't do that here. Even though I really like to see all of it playing out, because at the end everything is just tools for us, and it's great. I love hooks. I love Evernote. I love the Burn to Mint bridge. I love the XR38 bridge. I love the EVM sidechain, because it all adds just functionality to it. It doesn't matter to me, who is proposing it, or so. Because if this would be the start of it, then you would look at all the agendas from anyone, and I don't like that. But other than that, it seems people are getting ready to really start off. I think the Evernote snapshot for the airdrop is really also the start of it, in terms of like, okay, now it's getting serious. Now it's there's something coming. There's an incentive being created for people to get over because they want to do airdrop. Makes all sense from that perspective. Yeah.
Well said. And for those, speaking about Evernote, right? What is Evernote? So Evernote is a Linux virtual machine environment where applications can be hosted in a decentralized manner because the Evernote is using the consensus of the XRP ledger for proof of registry of who owns the host. And so utilizing this hooks, I should also go into the hook sidechain of why we need hooks for Evernote to be able to be operational in a decentralized manner, and degree of attack vectors that possibly could have been possible without it. The hooks sidechain provides a means of being able to create an NFT, and then this NFT is proven to be your representation of registry on Evernode. And so the Evernode Linux virtual environment is utilizing the hook sidechain in this case for proof of registry. And with that, you could, from a single transaction, with the ability to have 32 different multi-signers on an account on the XRP ledger, create up to 32 different Evernode contracts, depending on the application you're running. And if you want to say, I want it on multiple different hosts, so I'm a Web 2 provider, I'm Nike, and I have a website, and I want to host my website in a decentralized manner, which I'm going to also be able to build these other applications that can communicate with it in the means of distributed ledger technology, so Oracle services and wallet services, and my wallet naming services. Well, so if I want to host this, but I don't want the risk of hosting it on a single machine that could centralize it and go down, and there goes my application, goes down with it, I can, from one single transaction, open this up in 32 different hosts. And so very decentralized, in my opinion. Also votable and changeable if we would like to increase it in the future, but I think 32 is plenty. This is what Evernote provides. And with that Linux virtual environment, really applications in the means of smart contracts and Solidity, Rust, C++, Python, JS. I mean, as far as I know, right? Like the sky there's truly no limit. I mean, and the things that we might see come from people building in this environment and hosting their applications could be wide scale. So I really am interested to see how it plays out. But Evernote itself is utilizing the hooks sidechain as consensus, and so this is what in par makes Evernote and XRP Ledger such a pair together. Greg, man, welcome up. Please go ahead and speak, and Cheesecake, if you would like to, afterwards.
Hey, thank you for allowing me to speak. Hope everybody's doing well. I just have a question about Evernote itself. So how does one become eligible for the airdrop? What process do they? You might have mentioned it already. What process or steps should they take? And is there? Yeah, and then I'll probably have another follow-up question after that.
That's fine. And it was a great question, actually, because you're right. That's what a lot of people are probably thinking is, how do I get the airdrop? So all you have to do is hold your XRP in a custodial wallet. The max of 50,000 XRP will be taken into consideration for every wallet. And so this in a means of excluding the exchanges and any financial institution or any large player or something like that from like equaling a higher amount. Now, that being said, I'm probably going to leave my tokens if I'm going to qualify for the airdrop in Zum, just because I believe the metric of how I'll be able to access the tokens will be much easier. But as long as you leave them in a wallet, you are good to go. You qualify for the airdrop. Now, to access those tokens, because the Evernote tokens, right, would be available in a wallet, but to claim them, you will have to have a signed transaction on the hooks sidechain. And so that's going to be dependent on others who may want to claim it or not, because before we have the sidechain XRP that would be sold in exchanges, the only way to get access to it and to actually make an account, or I should say to start your account on the hook sidechain, would be to put 10 XRP or 10 sidechain XRP into the account. So that's going to be up to people if they're wanting to burn to mint to be able to go sign the transaction, if I'm not mistaken, right, Vet, to actually claim the tokens. But if the means of people being able to purchase the sidechain XRP on exchanges exist, you'll be able to also purchase it there, and then just open up your account on the XRP ledger. Now, what do I mean by that? Well, it's just opening up a wallet. As you would know, the XRP ledger is account based, and so every wallet or every account holds a reserve of that 10 XRP or 10 sidechain XRP. It's going to be no different. What was I just thinking about though? Greg, do you have any more questions on that though? While I'm at it.
Actually, that's perfect. That goes right in line with. So when you say open it up, so are we opening up a trust line again? Is that basically, am I saying it correctly? Do you need a trust line for that particular token?
Well, so on, I don't know. I don't think it's going to be a trust line. Bet, do you know if they're having you said an Evernote trust line on the Hook sidechain? I don't think so because Evernote is its own token, and so it's going to need its own wallet, or at least its own spot in a wallet. And so there'll probably be a couple wallets that like Zum and I probably Bifrost from Toho Labs that'll have the ability for you to access your Evernote or Evers as the token. But so in this sense, you're activating the account on a different network, so the Hook sidechain. And so what was I thinking of bringing up? I actually forgot it again. That's funny. Twice in the 5 minutes there. Let's see. Starting the account, getting it over there. Qualifying. Did you have another question, Greg? Maybe it'll pop up into my head what I was just thinking.
Well, I mean, from being a novice, and quite honest, I'll be quite open. I haven't had a whole lot of time to, to really look into this more so. But when you're talking about Hook side chains, what about the novice or the people in the group that's never had any experience of that? Is there some kind of format or something that we could do to set up?
Yeah, and
set
so
up
well, you I reminded myself as soon as you started speaking. I remembered what I was going to say. So the reason I'm bringing my tokens the Zum is so when you think about accessing, because this is a new network, right? A separate blockchain. You could even think about it, but using the same rippled code, so it's the XRP Ledger code base, and with the addition of the Hooks amendments added to it, so increased technology that's been built into it, with the ability to have a proven factor of burnt tokens or spent tokens, I really should say. Well, they are burnt on the XRP ledger to be able to issue you the tokens on the Hook sidechain. That being said, though, I'm using Zum because I figure Zum will build this support into the wallet, and so how easy will it be for me to access the Hook sidechain? It's probably going to be as easy as me like hitting the top right corner, or I'm sure it'll be somewhere built into it. You could already, if you go into the settings of Zum, you could already access like the DevNet and different nodes and stuff like that if you would really want to. I think it'll be just something real easy. You just click from XRP Ledger to Sidehooks XRP. But the question is though, is if you go to the sidechain XRP, right, or Hooks XRP Ledger, if you go to that chain, the question is how do you activate your account, right? Like you can't do anything with the network if you don't have sidechain XRP. And so either you're going to buy those tokens at an exchange if available, or you would have to burn to mint, as that's the only means of getting sidechain XRP issued on the sidechain at the moment.
Wow, there's definitely a it's not it's almost like when a person first get into cryptocurrency, there's the active purchasing cryptocurrency, figuring out what to purchase, how to secure it. I mean, there's the evolution is like crazy. So I guess that's just something else that I have to do further research on to make sure that I'm doing it properly. And I bet you a lot of people in the group have very similar questions when it comes to that kind of stuff. But I appreciate you answering the questions, and I'll step away. And I know Mr. Cheesecake had a question, so appreciate you, Def. Thanks for taking the time to answer that question for me.
No, of course, man, and thank you for coming to the space. Oh, whoa, you're here, man. Welcome up, and Greg, my condolences, man. I saw the message. I'm glad you're here, man. And if there's anything I could do for you, please always feel free to reach out.
You're already doing it, bro. Like you've always been there. I appreciate you. Thank you.
No, thank you, man. And Mr. Cheesecake, you go ahead, man. And whoa, I'm glad you're here. Welcome to the space.
Yeah, hi there.
So between Evernote and Hooks, and then you have the EVM sidechain. So like if somebody didn't want to use Evernote or hooks, could they build a EVM sidechain that was still smart contract capable? I believe they can. Am I correct with that?
Yeah, the question just really comes down to it is how is that communicating with the XRP ledger? And typically it would be through like some sort of multi-sigs. And so you would have custodians that would play roles into that. And there's some other factors for sure. But you could also build your own sidechain or EVM sidechain and then host that network literally on Evernote as a hosting platform, if I'm not mistaken, also. Well, and you could do that in a decentralized manner.
Right, because like if you weren't going to use Evernote or hooks, you would have to have enough people willing to get in and help you build that ecosystem with other validators, so that you could have a full chain, right?
That's
But
correct.
so building on one that's already like hooks and over Evernote, that's already there, so you wouldn't have to worry about that. You can still build your side chain and then just like hook into that network.
But yeah, I mean, say you wanted to build like an EVM contract, you could host your EVM contract on Evernote.
Right. Okay.
And whoa. Oh, I don't know why it muted me, but whoa, if you want to speak to that, please feel free to.
Yeah, sure. So the difference between hooks and Evernote and then the EVM sidechain is that 3 of these protocols are just computational layers. Not necessarily, the hook sidechain, while there is a component in which additional computation is a part of the settlement layer, which is the XRP Ledger Consensus Protocol. The hooks amendment adds computational components to the XRP Ledger Consensus Protocol. And then there's Evernote, in which it's an entire platform, an entire ecosystem of unique blockchains or networks, in which each network is its own decentralized application. It can be JavaScript. It can be based on JavaScript, C, Python, but someone has to introduce what is it called? A library to interact with the components on Evernote. But yeah, the thing with the EVM sidechain is that it's based on XLS38D or XBridge, which brings cross-chain functionality, but in a form of a multi-sig wallet in 2 different chains. But there's also the problem. There's also a problem with the technicalities and the regulatory aspect of it. One is that the sidechain itself would be relying on the custody service to maintain its layer 1 native token, similar to how the XRP ledger has XRP. XRP is the XRP ledger's native token, and for the sidechain, it's going to have its own native token, but it's going to be maintained and issued by the bridge itself. So that's the technical aspect that worries me and the others as well. The regulatory aspect is that it's a custody service. It's a multi-sig wallet in which parties and providers are needed to maintain and manage the service itself or the bridge. So yeah, that's the TLDR on it. It's very long though.
Thank you.
That was awesome. Well, thank you very much. And you don't have to speak about it if you don't want to. I did bring it up earlier because I did see your message. If you would like to speak about any of the things that you're possibly building on Evernote or contracts right now, or touch on possibly like a naming service, I'd like to hear you speak about it.
Yeah, the naming service solution that I was prototyping is just a hackathon submission, but it could be it could come to fruition in production and become its own thing. But right now I have my toes dipped into different pools. Do you know Brush Labs, the Fredo Ayala guy?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm working with him to bring enterprise activity on Evernote and the Hook sidechain. I can't share anything though, not yet at least.
Yes, don't spill the secret sauce. And that's pretty cool. I've heard Fredo speak about it before, and so I know he's a very large fan of what is being built on the network.
Yeah, looking at the post that you guys shared on this call, I did notice that you guys are mainly talking about B2M and Evernote.
Yeah, I mean, we did. I started at 3:30. We did about 45, 50 minutes of the automated market maker, and probably 10 minutes before you had joined the space, I brought it over to Evernote and
Mm.
hooks. And so I was speaking about Evernote. I tried to define it a little bit. We spoke about the airdrop, and then you came in, so it was perfect timing.
Can I have a quick question? Oh, Jack, did you say that Eris is going to be the native currency on the Hook sidechain, or did I misunderstand something?
The Evernote network would be Evers. The Hook sidechain will have a representation of a reissued XRP. So I think it's going to be named EXRP, but I'm not 100% on
Yeah,
that.
I'd like to talk about it. The Hook sidechain, that's B2M. B2M is essentially a portal from the mainnet to bring the Hook sidechain's native token. The thing is that when you burn XRP on the mainnet and you mint XRP on the Hook sidechain, these two are different assets. Why? Because they live on different ledgers and they're not the same. While the accounting or the account balances are the same, let's say you burn 10 XRP and you mint 10 XRP on the Hook sidechain, mathematically speaking, they're the equivalent of it, but they're not the same because they live on different ledgers, and both of these networks would be having different supplies. So the market dynamic between these two assets are going to be different in a way. There's also the fact that both of these networks will have different ecosystems, but the Hook sidechain is an expansion of the XRP ledger ecosystem because it has smart contracts. Smart contracts add composability, flexibility, and power to the XRP ledger. Well, it may sound like marketing and like big buzzwords. It's not. It's really important. Smart contracts are really important in layer 1 and layer 2, especially how Evernote is doing it, because it again adds composability and flexibility. You want to block transactions, you want to automate things natively on the XRP ledger. Maybe you want to add a new protocol on the XRP ledger, maybe a platform per se. You could do it via a hook. You don't need to you don't need to configure the server software that maintains the network, which is D, which is very complicated. You don't need to propose a change to the code base, which takes time. People need to review it. You don't need to propose an amendment, which takes countless months now on the XRP ledger. With hooks, it's going to add more functionality, and R&D is going to be significantly larger on the Hook sidechain. But yeah, it's an expansion of the XRP ledger. But to answer your original question, no, they're different assets. I don't know the name of it though.
Yeah, and so I was just doing EXRP as like example XRP.
Yeah.
I don't know, I had it in my head. But here's something that popped in my head. I know we've spoken about it before. So this dynamic that evolves because of the supply and demand that could possibly exist on the Hook sidechain, and then a tradable value between that, right? The if it was ever on exchanges or on the decks of the XRP ledger, whatever other IOUs would be then represented on the Hook sidechain. When we go to burn our tokens, in the future, right? Not at least initially,
do you see some sort of dynamic where, say, you burn 10 XRP on the XRP ledger and you could get 5 of the hook sidechain XRP if the value is different?
What do you mean by that? So,
So say XRP is at
yeah.
$1 and we value EXRP as being traded on exchanges at $2, right? And so I want to burn 10 XRP to bring it on to the sidechain. Would I only be issued 5 of those dollars? And how would the hook sidechain be able to prove that?
So the way that it works, the B2M component works, is that it's not based on market dynamics. It's not based on supply. It's not based on the market demand for its native token. It's based on a protocol. The protocol, which is, which is going to be on the hook sidechain. And again, it's not based on the market dynamic, but it's based on a written protocol, a set protocol that the hook sidechain participants, which are going to be the validators, agree upon. So let's say that the ratio would be 1 XRP and 1 EXRP. You burn 1 XRP on the mainnet, you'll receive 1 EXRP on the hook sidechain. And the way that it works is that it doesn't care about what the market thinks, but it's based on the protocol. So the market is going to affect what the value of the protocol, which is B2M, is going to be. But you need to understand that while these two assets are different, there's a level of complexity with the market dynamic of it, because you need to consider a supply, you need to consider inflation on the hook sidechain, because B2M is an inflationary mechanism on the hook sidechain. And there's also the fact that you have to consider the demand on the hook sidechain and the XRP ledger for XRP. So that's those 3 factors are the main factors that you need to key into whatever equation or thesis that you have, as an enterprise or as a researcher, whatever it is.
Yeah, I actually think I really like that methodology, right? Because for me as a holder of XRP, I know that I'm always going to get the same representation of token quality on the next side. And from an arbitrage standpoint, I think this will also actually have the valuation from a USD standpoint, or what's traded on exchanges, if so, very similar to each other, because of the ability to have that. Okay, well, this, the hook sidechain XRP went up a little bit, I'm going to mint some over there and then sell it. And I think this actually creates an arbitrage opportunity and a dynamic for them to actually have a similar price feed because of it.
Yeah, maybe, I don't know, it depends on what.
Did he rug for everybody, or was that just me? Whoa, you rugged there. I don't know if you can hear me.
I cannot hear anything. I couldn't hear him all the time, actually, so I dropped him, came up back.
Oh, gosh. I'm sure he'll be back in a minute. Yeah, he's a listener.
So how are we doing, folks?
We are cooking.
Nice. What you cooking, Death Ranger?
I heard you said you are going out for your second walk today, earlier. I've never heard you working out before.
Yeah, I'm walking, not a workout. So I go for a walk. I usually go in the morning, and then actually towards the evening also once, if I can. So I get away from my desk because I work from home. So when you work from home, you tend to be a lot home. Yeah, therefore I try to get out.
That's great.
You have to keep your motivation up and your body moving. The brain is a muscle. The body is filled with muscles. You got to keep them working, or you lose the oomph, as I like to put it. Anyway,
Yes.
I think we lost Will there. I'm not sure if he's actually going to come back or not. I don't even know why he was awake right now. I think it's like 5 o'clock in the morning for him. So,
there could be one reason.
Yeah, right. We really did have a lot of information we've spoken about so far in the space on Evernote, hooks, side chains in general, a little bit the automated market maker. If there is anybody in the audience that has any questions on the three topics or anything that I have above, please feel free to hit the request or type it in the bottom right, the little bubble. I'll probably keep the space open for another 15 or so, and I'll close it up if there's no more conversation.
Well, I have one more additional question regarding the Evernote. Now, is that something? I don't know if you answered it or not, or maybe I just because I'm working too at the same time. Um, Evernote, do you have to sign up for it, or I think you sort of answered the question, but it may have just passed me by.
No, you're fine. You mean for the airdrop?
Yeah, it's because you know how some of the other airdrops, you have to sign up for them, or you have to do a trust line depending on where you're getting the tokens from. How does that apply when it comes to Evernote?
Just hold your tokens in your wallet. As long as it's in a self custody wallet and it's 50K max per XRP, that'll be taken into consideration for the airdrop. So if you have more than 50K XRP and you want to qualify for all of the XRP you have, you would then want to either move it to another wallet or, you would want to move it to another wallet. Sorry, I don't know what else I was thinking in my brain.
So there's no registration process. For clarity, there's for those who don't know, there's no registration process because
Nope.
like some of the other ones, they had to take a screenshot and you had to have a certain amount in, or you have to have they had to take a screenshot at a certain time. So
Yeah,
in this
and so
particular case,
what makes this so easy for the hook sidechain is because your address is going to be the same address, right? It's the same seed phrase that's going to give you your wallet address for the hook sidechain, and so it's really as simple as you just being able to connect to the API of the hook sidechain rather than the XRP ledger, and obviously fund that wallet or account if you would want to claim the Evernote. Of course, that's up to you if you want to. In the end of the day.
well, thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
Of course, man, and I know around the time, especially whenever there's an airdrop that people want to partake in. In this instance, I'm definitely going to try and be around to answer questions, and I'm sure we'll have more information as we get closer to Hook sidechain launching and Evernote going live. Because this is also a requirement. I mean, for Evernote, for us to have Evernote and to interact with it in what we would call a mainnet, well, we need Hook sidechain to go live.
So, reason for concern, or do we have any reason for concern if it's the same address as the X? Like our XRP is just not. I'm just doing hypothetical. Our XRP is just not going to disappear.
No, you're just attaching to a different network. So it's the same thing if you did for Flare and Songbird, right? Like you had the same Ethereum address that you utilized for Songbird or Flare. It's just a different network, different API. The wallet is pointing to. So it's the same kind of methodology.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Yes. See, and so here's the one thing though, and the reason that I mentioned earlier that if I'm going to participate in it, I think the easiest way to do so would be just to have whatever the wallet is you're going to use, have that seed phrase on Zum and the XRP on Zum, because it's probably going to be as easy as just clicking two buttons and just switching from the XRP ledger mainnet to pointing to the Hook sidechain, and then either you're going to be using the burn to mint function if you would want to claim it to bring some sidechain XRP over there, or you have to wait till you purchase it as an exchange and then send it to that wallet to fund the wallet. But if you say you leave it in your ledger, right? Like you might have to import your seed phrase, unless I don't know. Are you able to?
attach your ledger into Zum. I'm not actually sure if that exists or not, so I don't want to say yes or no. But you would need to probably be able to access the network, and so unless Ledger is going to, build a means of you being able to access the Hoax sidechain API, it's there's no way for you to access the network.
We have a special guest up here. It's Mimi.
I let her. I was, I was like, oh, am I gonna let her up? And then, Vet, you did
I
it because I
front
gave
run
you
you.
co-host. So like, all right, you get to come up. You get to come up by default today, Mimi. But please be kind.
Well, I had a different conversation, but I just wanted to see if technology can do pretty much the same thing. If you guys can remember, they had us on this little COVID watch when we go through the airport. They can know if you had the COVID shot or what have you. Can you the technology, right?
Are you talking about like a scannable QR
Yeah,
code?
just to scan and see if you had the COVID shot or if you needed the data.
Yeah, totally. You can do that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like
Okay.
your certificate could be like an NFT in your wallet, and I can read it out and can see it.
Okay, so you just had to show it like a card, right, to get through, I guess.
Yeah, you would scan with your phone, I guess, a QR code,
Mm-hmm.
and then I can see if you're vaccinated or not.
Okay, so my question. I had a question. I just want to see if technology can do something. So okay, I'm not laughing. Hold on.
Oh God! If you are even laughing.
Wait, no.
You're not supposed to. You're laughing before you even said it.
No,
huh?
I'm not. Wait, I'm tickled inside. It feels funny. You know how you at a cough or sneeze? Okay, hold on. Okay, so we got the LGBTQ. So that would be same sex, a person that loves the same sex. So now we got the plus and the +1 and then the transgender.
Wait,
so
what is +1?
My thing, I don't know what the fuck it is.
Let's not get into the details.
Let's
not do the
Baby
details.
on board. Baby on board. +1.
Okay, so
give
here's
us
my question.
give us the punch. This Shark Tank for you, Mimi. Give us the hot punch.
Okay, here's my confusion. There are grown ass men walking around with clothes that maybe I would wear, maybe not. I don't know. But anyways, in the meantime, if they did not cut off their body parts, but they're still claiming transgender, isn't that
What's going on here?
Sorry, we hit the ceiling of the peak. We have unfortunately dropped the shark. Thank you,
Death
Mimi,
Ranger,
for coming.
you asked for a punch.
No, jeez, man, gosh, we asked for it, huh?
She was going to go straight to the Transformers, or it was going to be karaoke night. This is Mimi. We love her. She is, oh my Lord.
Shout out
She's
to
the
Mimi.
queen of the trolling.
Oh man, wow. That was it was definitely unexpected, that's for sure. But it wasn't unexpected.
You asked for a punch and
time.
you got the punch.
I got the punch. You are very right, though, Rust. Vet. Sorry, though, and Rusty, you are very right too. But we're right at that 5 o'clock mark. I think I'm gonna close it up on that note. That was it was a good laugh at least. So I thank you for that, Mimi. But definitely not the discussion that I want to have in here, especially because I record these and I want to have these recordings not only for us today, but I really truly do think that these audio files will be something useful in even 100 to 200 years from now. I mean, imagine if you could have an audio file from your founding fathers or from somebody like Pluto or Socrates or Aristotle, and they could have actually spoken. You could have felt the tonology and the moral ethics behind the speech that was being observed and witnessed. And so, this is why I think these are so empowering, because if our species does survive, these audio files will be around. And I really do thank every one of you for coming in here and speaking and sharing this information. I love all of you, even Mimi. Love everybody. And I am not having any spaces next week. I'm going to be away for the week. But I will definitely be on here and there. So definitely try and spend as much time as I can with the community while I'm away. I hope everybody has a great weekend. And once again, love you guys.
Thank you, Death Ranger.
Bye, Death Ranger.
Have a great night, everybody. God bless y'all.